And we're straight on back into it, Vedius. Game 2 of this series. Origen once again on the blue side, G2 on the red. Syndra the first ban, Gragas the second ban here from G2.
Well, it seems that G2 probably don't want to change anything. They're going to stick with their Gragas and a set as their priority bans, most likely. With the adaptation from Origen to ban away the Yuumi, it does of course leave the Pantheon open. So G2 now have to make the question, do we ban away the Panth knowing that Xerxes does play it? Or wow, the Tahm Kench is actually going to be taken off the board. So under the assumption that Origen first pick something like the Aphelios, they're not going to have that protection available to them.
Yep, I think the Tahm Kench, obviously, as you say, does provide a bit of protection, but with things like the Pantheon, the set still available, Origen are going to gobble up set for themselves. And now I wonder if G2 decide to go for the Pantheon, because...
I mean, it has to be, surely.
Yeah.
I mean, they have such high value on it. You also know it can be flexed into multiple roles. It's like the G2 champion. And wow, they actually going to take the Aphelios away from Origen's bot lane as well. We know that Upset is happy to play the Misfortune. And no, they're just going to... Wow, G2 have a clear priority on securing a strong 2v2 in the bot side of the map. But Origen, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Misfortune Nautilus is going to be the answer. I think this is a good pick into the Aphelios. But of course, G2 will get the Pantheon themselves. So clearly defined priorities for both sides here. And again, we immediately have to look at this Pantheon and say his focus is probably going to be in the bot side of the map. We're going to be seeing some heavy investment in the Jankos-Mickey duo. And I think that Mickey, even in their loss last week, did have a very solid Thresh performance. So excited to see him back on that pick.
Alright, sure. I'm just very surprised by Caps deciding to go for the Aphelios so early on. It's 2-11 across playoffs. Caps only had a 50% win rate on it in the course of spring regular season, and we all remember his awful game against Misfits on the champ. So G2 obviously putting a lot of faith in the fact that Caps can step up on this Aphelios. He is, as we've said, a very good player, but I wonder if Origen will be able to put some pressure down in that bottom lane and maybe force G2 to have to make some harsh decisions as to whether camping that lane is the right decision for them. There's the Renekton ban though. Ornn going to get removed by Origen. Aatrox taken away, and we'll see if Origen keep going for top lane bans, because of course Pantheon can be flexed, set can be flexed. We aren't 100% sure that the Pantheon will be in the jungle, nor that the set will definitely be in top lane.
I mean, I actually expect the set to be in the jungle.
Ooh,
and we're going to get the blind Neeko top lane for G2. This is something that Wonder used to be very well known for. It was one of his go-to champions, and it gives you a lot of power in the lane, and there are very few picks that are just naturally good into it just because of how oppressive it can be. You also have the flexibility of going both AD and AP. Even though AD Neeko is much weaker than it used to be, it can still be quite obnoxious, and it now gives freedom for G2 to pick pretty much whatever they want in the mid lane, which I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe we get the perks Zed. You never know. You never know.
Okay, LeBlanc is still an option as well if you really want it. But as you say, like the ability power, you want more physical damage from...
Well, it depends. It depends in what direction. Usually you do see the AP Neeko in the top lane. They could also just put the Neeko mid. It's something that Faker is actually a really big fan of. But we do see a couple of hovers coming out from G2. I'd be surprised if Yasuo was actually the lock-in. But yeah, things like Zed are actually good into... I don't think Zed is necessarily the into this comp. Zillion?
Okay.
I mean, this is definitely, like... When I think of Zillion, I don't think G2. That is not the pick that comes to mind. But when we kind of look at the comp in its entirety, one of the things that G2 again is going to struggle with is finding a reliable way to actually start off any kind of fight. And one of the advantages that a champion like Zillion has, that speed boost makes things like Thresh and Pantheon and the Neeko as well much more effective at being able to close the gap and potentially set up some fights. But G2 again actually have some great tools in terms of zoning, in terms of poke, and keeping OG at arm's length, whereas OG have a much more conventional wombo combo 5v5 team fight style of comp, where they're going to offer a huge amount of utility from things like the Nautilus and the Maokai. You're going to get an element of it from the set as well, but regardless of how G2 try to start off these fights, it's going to be very easy for OG to just play these front to back. So finding ways to get through the Nautilus and the Maokai are going to be very important for G2, but again, like, I think in terms of early expectations, I think we're going to see a lot of action, especially towards the bot side of the map, especially when you look at how powerful Pantheon can be in terms of setting up these early game ganks.
Well, Wonder is undefeated on the Nico in the LEC. Perks 7-1 in Zilean. Last time he played it was 2017. He's cracking it out once again in the 2020 playoffs. A front-to-back composition coming out from Origen. One game down in this best-of-5. Last time they played G2 in the regular season, they did not win when it came to teamfights, Vedius, and I wonder if this game will be any different, because game 1, although there were a few mistakes from G2, a few bits of over-aggression, a few bits of greediness, G2 is still very much in control for the majority of it.
Yeah, they certainly were. It was... I would say it was a pretty crazy game. The early game looked overall very clean, but when you got to the mid stages of play, G2 were definitely over-aggressive and constantly looking for these fights and utilizing the mobility of their composition. And when I look at how G2's comp kind of comes together this time around, I'm really interested to see how this Zilean is utilized, because one of the great things about Zilean is that he offers a huge amount of zone control thanks to his bombs. You also have the revival in the event that someone gets locked down, you can bring them back up, and because you're going AP, it actually brings them all the way back up to full HP. So you can either bring back a carry or you can bring a front line back into the action. We do see a bit of action already kicking off in the top lane, but I don't think that's going to result in a huge amount. And I think it's worth noting that we can see the Glacial Augment running on Wonder, so it is going to be that AP build that we very much normally see from the Nico, and it's likely going to be things like the Hextech GLP and maybe the Spooky Ghosts as well to offer a little bit more utility. And the more I look at this G2 comp, the more I'm thinking, okay, they're really strong at like keeping their opponents at arm's length, keeping them zoned out of certain areas and making it difficult for them to close the gap, which Origen is going to look to do. As we mentioned, they do have this very strong front-to-back 5v5 team fight, which is going to be very effective at just overall playing around these neutral objectives.
It doesn't seem like it makes it hard for Origen to get that front-to-back going, though, because if you're kept at arm's length, you can never get closer or close enough for your AD carry to really be doing damage to the backline, especially with a Zilean who can then revive Caps if he ever gets caught out. It becomes very hard for Origen to actually be on the front foot when it comes to fights. But those team fights are probably quite a way down the line. Looking down the lanes, as expected, Nukeduck has a little bit of a push on Perks. Azir in the early game can be very oppressive, and Perks will just be bombing the wave whenever it gets pushed in to try and clear out those minions.
Keeping an eye on the Pantheon and the set right now. There was a ward placed on top of the Raptors, so Jankos is aware of what Xerxes is up to. He's going to know that the red buff has been taken, and Jankos is going to use this as an opportunity, to sneak in behind. And Xerxes, I think he's read this though.
But he's on a ward, he's on a ward.
This is a really dangerous position for Jankos though, because OG can collapse much faster, but here we are.
He's got the Lantern. This should be, even if Jankos jumps in, this should be a pretty easy escape. I wonder if G2 actually still want to take the fight, because the wave has pushed in and they're looking to dive underneath the tower. Perks coming in. Mickey going to get rooted up underneath the tower. Upset, cleanses, flashes away. Mickey tries to get the final auto attack in, but won't manage to land it. Nukeduck came down with his TP just that little bit quicker. Origen get the first kill of the game. And lots of damage onto Alphari in the top lane, as expected. If you get caught with the Blooming Burst and the Tangle Barbs, it's very difficult for that Maokai to do too much.
I mean, this was always going to be a difficult dive. Like, Xerxes was in position. OG knew exactly what was going to happen, and they even had TP on their mid laner ready to respond. So I'm surprised they committed to this, and now they're going to commit to another fight.
Perks is coming into this. Upset has nowhere to go, and Jankos will take him out. Cap's going to flash away, and Perks has the flank now, but Jankos might be dead before Perks can even arrive. Jankos looking for the flash across the wall, doesn't manage to get it, and now Perks flashing forward. That bomb's not going to connect, but the time will slow up Xerxes, and Xerxes really hasn't got anywhere to go, but the Haymaker comes out, and the Dredge line! Oh, it's a 1-for-1 trade in the bottom lane. Destiny now underneath the tower. Here's the Hex Splash. Mickey looking for it. He lands the hook on Destiny, and there's the bomb. Oh, Perks missed the bomb! Perks missed the bomb! Mickey comes in with the empowered auto attack, slaps him down with the Scythe, and G2 come out with a 3-for-3 in the end.
What was that dive, Medic? Like, that was ridiculous. Everything about it was just so silly. But the action's not going to stop. Jankos is now ganking mid lane.
Nukeduck does still have his flash, perhaps the only player in the game left with it apart from those top laners. Looking to get away from Jankos. Perks on the chase as well. Has time warped himself up, but Xerxes, Jankos! That's some damage on the spear from the Pantheon.
Right,
Let's have another
we've
look at
got a
bot
lot
lane.
to recap here.
Oh, he was on a ward. Oh, that was the ward. Okay, that was. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah,
okay. Thank you, observers. So that's how they knew that Jankos was making this play happen. Because Xerxes, he was pathing bot, but I was like, how does he know this? Is it just that second sense? But no, he did get that information. So both junglers were tracking each other here, and it surprised me that G2 went for this commitment. It looks like because Perks is roaming from mid, that they feel they have a numbers advantage, but the chain CC commitment onto Mickey was smart from Origen because they knew that was the target that they needed to rush down, and Upset, investing all his summoner spells, was able to disengage thanks to a really good cleanse from him as well. But Caps actually sticks around as Destiny's trying to get some vision down, and they know that the TP is going to come in from Perks as he resets and then comes in from the flank. But again, this is a 2 versus 3 for the vast majority of the fight. Good damage comes out from Jankos, and he actually buys a lot of time with his E, but of course then the remaining chaos ensues. They get that kill onto Jankos, and then Perks and Caps, well, Caps is going to get tower. He's going to take all this damage from getting hooked underneath the tower, which good side steps from Perks, does end up killing his AD carry as a result. But the action's not slowing down. We see more action in the bot side of the map.
Xerxes has a level advantage and is looking for Mickey. The knuckle down coming out. There's a dredge line as well onto Jankos, but Destiny's already done for. Mickey able to escape off towards the top side of this, and Perks is on his way down with the chrono shift. Xerxes now caught on the wrong side of nowhere, and in the end the bomb will be used to chase down Xerxes. There's no escape here for the set. Caps is going to be donated the kill, and G2 now 6 kills to 3L. And so, Jankos with the Tentamote. Oh, what a camp, Betty. You predicted it. Jankos
Medic,
was like,
I was
I'm
just
setting
about
it up.
to say,
I'm setting it up.
Medic, I was just about to say, I knew we'd see action bot lane. I wasn't expecting this level of camp. Like, it's unbelievable. So now, the thing is, the Zilean already starts rotating down. He can utilize the bonus movement speed he has in his toolkit to be able to quickly get here before the Azir can, especially without the TP on the Azir. This means that, especially with the early game power that a Pantheon does have, G2 who's always going to come out ahead in skirmishes, as well as that they'll have the numbers advantage as well. So they're just setting up Caps for success right now, and he's going to be the primary damage dealer, so that's who you really want your gold funneled onto. And as the observers highlight our gold differences, you can see there's an 800 gold advantage in Caps' back pocket right now. And G2 is doing everything in their power to say, oh, you guys doubted Caps? You doubted this man? The man that we praise as one of the best Western players? What are you going to say about it if we funnel all of our farm into this player? Are you still going to keep calling him bad then?
Well, we'll see. You know, they're only 600 gold ahead, Vedius. Yes, he is very big, but I've seen Caps make plenty.
I mean, it's true. The real test for Caps will come now, given that he has to be the hyper carry, and his positioning is going to be crucial, especially on this Aphelios. And, you know, we bring back to last week that game 3, where he was sitting in the mid lane. He thought he was safe because of the Thresh Lantern, and then he just gets one shot. Goes to show that sometimes positioning is not Caps' strong suit, especially on these AD carries. But we'll have to wait and see. The Infernal Drake is now being started up. No TP available for either top laner, but Perks is in a better position to rotate down. OG looking for the collapse.
They land the hook. Perks does still have the ultimate, and he's going to use it early on, but he's going to get Emperor's Divide back. Jankos tanking up
Lantern.
The dragon. The Lantern coming out, but the suplex takes him away. No escape for you today, and Origen could start up the dragon if they wanted. Instead, they say no. We're just going to get some pressure in the mid lane, get those plates down, and then we can look to get more out of this game. That gold lead has shrunk to a measly 200. Actually, looks like Origen is going to say, we don't care about the Infernal, we're going for Herald.
Okay, so they're investing in the Herald much earlier this time, and what had happened in bot lane was that Caps had actually set up a very strong freeze, which is always going to be difficult to break, especially with the amount of control that G2 had over the bot side of the map. So rather than try and break it, they instead, after the pick, decided to rotate with a numbers advantage up towards the top side of the map. But look, Upset is so committed to securing that farm that he's actually not here to help his team secure this, and now they're not going to be able to secure Herald. Like, I really feel like the OG should have just committed to that. They had the numbers. Perks didn't have his teleport, and instead they're just going to give it away.
Caps might die here. Alphari's got flash. He can chase this out. Oh, what? He used it in the wrong direction. He must have clicked the minimap or something. But I don't see how the minimap is...
I'm not sure.
I don't know what happened.
Sure. If I can get a replay, then maybe we can give a little bit more context on exactly why that happened. But very uncharacteristic of Alphari to miss skills like that. It could also have been that Caps was just sitting on top of him, which means that you have to pick a direction for it to go in, and he just ulted. And then unfortunately, it went the wrong way that he didn't want it to go. But clearly a mistake. If Alphari had landed it, a very high chance the Caps would have died, or at the very least lost a summoner spell. But we're likely... Oh, we're actually going to get a replay. Perfect. Thank you very much, observers. So let's have a look at this one. Caps, this is clearly an overextension, right? There's no other way to describe this.
This is poor positioning, I believe, is what it's called.
Oh, no, that was just straight up the wrong way, mate. There's
that's what I'm saying. He just used it in the wrong way. I'm wondering, like, maybe he clicked the mini-map.
Alphari looked him in the eye and said, you know what? Walk away. Remember this, though. Remember what happened. You come into my lane again, I will not miss again.
It's too easy. It's too easy to kill you here, Caps. Get stronger. Come back stronger. Perk's going to meet me Alphari down in the bottom lane. Perk's just looking to clear out this wave. Alphari will just put a little bit of hurt on him.
You hit the nail on the head. Like, it's a classic anime reference. On the dash! Oh, the emotes. They're so perfect, Medic. They're so perfect.
It's like... There are moments in this game that kind of take you out of the reality that it's a lower bracket game. Like, this is an elimination game for one of these two teams. The finals are next week. G2 have only missed the final weekend once in their time in the LEC, in their EU, LCS, and LEC history. Origen, of course, missed it last split as Caps has to flash away here. Depth shot's going to hit him. Xerxes looking to come in from the flank, but the teleport has been used. And I believe that is Perks joining the fray as Caps burns his flash to get away.
Right, well, again, that's number 2 for Caps and poor positioning. That was a very easy dredge line for Destiny to land, and if it weren't for the TP, G2 could have lost a lot more for that, but with the Rift Herald in the back pocket...
Yep. TP coming in. They're looking to fight this. There's the Emperor's Divide coming out, and Caps is knocked back. He's been chrono shifted. Teleport coming in by Wonder. He's going to join this fight as well, but Perks is already very low. Haymaker Flash comes out, and Caps is taken out as well, but the damage comes in from Yankos. It's a 3v3 in the top lane as Wonder still has the Pop Blossom, and here he goes looking to pop Origen where they stand. One down. Destiny pops his stopwatch, but he won't get away as the chase is on, and Wonder with the final order attack takes him out, and Alphari underneath the tower has been tangle barbed up and will walk away wounded.
Oh my word. So we have to watch Caps in that final fight because the moment he respawned, he nearly 1v5'd the entire Origen team. His ultimate was huge in that play. Now here we see G2. They don't recognize that Nuktuk is flanking until it's too late. The TP comes in from Alphari, and everything is set up to just lock Caps down. The ultimate comes through, and let's get the slow-mo on Caps when lands. The double bomb into the ultimate. Just look at how he melts the two carries. That was so crucial in turning this fight in G2's favor because the setup and everything for Origen was perfect. But these clutch last-minute plays coming in from G2 helped them swing the fight in their favor, and now the momentum is heavily swinging in the favor of G2 as they rack up a 2k gold lead.
But alongside that, like, Caps had just switched to the Infernum. Literally on the auto attack on the tower before the fight starts, he switches to Infernum. So that is like, it's so close to being a great fight for Origen.
Do we say that it's luck or skill? Medic,
that was luck. 100% that's luck. There's no way, like, they don't expect the flank. How can they be, oh yeah, I'm going to change to Infernum in case we get flanked by this thing that I shouldn't be getting flanked by anyway. It's definitely luck, but it's, sometimes that's what G2 get. Sometimes that's what G2 get. You make enough good plays, you get a bit of luck on your side. And so far, as you say, they are 2,500 gold ahead. They're going to start up the Infernal Dragon.
I got to bring a point, Medic. So coming into this cast, we talked a lot about how neither of these teams are actually like early game Drake focused.
Yeah.
And the first Drake of the game is 13 minutes in. It's like
pretty late.
It's such a late Drake. Normally we see the first Drake going down 6 minutes in. Wonder now trying to get collapsed on, but he does have the shield from his ultimate.
Bullet time comes out as well, and they might just wait this one out as Xerxes joins the fray. There's the face breaker, and Wonder has nowhere to go. Xerxes will still have the Haymaker, I believe, and shouldn't be enough to help him survive.
You're correct. Shouldn't be the way in which I would mind to dive.
Yeah.
This will end up actually going still in the favor of G2 because they trade 1-for-1 and they're actually going to be able to get, I think, the first tower of the game as well. So many plates have gone into the back pocket. Oh, look at that as well, just as the turret plating is falling. So this will be a trade for Origen overall, but you can see the map control that G2 is getting. It's just so heavily in their favor, and we see a bit of action trading in the mid lane.
Is it Perks' goal to spend more time between the tier 1 and tier 2 towers than he does in the actual lane?
I think you're right.
Like, he's playing Zillion. Why is he behind those two towers? Just time warping in and taking the fight. Let's have a look where we are in terms of items. Vedius, Rod of Age is complete on Perks. There is the Frozen Hose as well on Wonder, the GLP. and the Essence Reaver complete on Caps. Yet to see a first item on Upset. There was about a 600 to 700 gold difference between those AD carries last time we checked, so I assume Upset will be going back relatively soon and upgrading to himself to an Essence Reaver.
So let's, as you rightly said, we kind of looked at some of these items and you can see that a lot of big breakpoints are being hit for G2 right now. So what's the next objective that we can come to expect? Because with the Dragon spawning in about 3.5 minutes, that's likely not going to be the priority. And with the Rift Herald, I'm not entirely sure when it spawns, but another one should be up for grabs before the Baron is available. Right now it seems that both teams are just trying to get some control over their lanes. Wunder is pushing out the bot side of the map, while Xerxes is looking for a potential gank up topside, but G2 are in a position to answer.
They are. They're looking for the pressure on towards this top lane tower, and as you say, G2, they just seem to have the front foot a little bit more than Origen. You know, we've seen Origen across the course of this split quite passive, be quite willing to step back from their turrets early on and then take later game fights, and their composition will be very good when it comes to late game fights. As we said, they have that front to back team fight comp, but you do wonder if you can give up so much to a team like G2 and then be willing to be able to fight from a deficit when the game goes later.
I think what's really interesting about Origen is that, remember last game, Medic, when we were talking about how they're quite a reactive team rather than a team that likes to trade? What we saw there was that the game plan from G2 was quite clearly, we want to try and take that final tier 1 tower, right? And when we were talking about like next possible plays, that was the one that G2 looked at and said, okay, this is the one for us. OG saw that, read that, and instead of trying to trade on the other side of the map, or maybe trade it for a mid tier 1, or like trade it for even enemy vision control on the bot side jungle, they actually tried to respond, but because bot lane was being pushed in solo by Wunder and Alfari couldn't hold it, he didn't have TP either, and on top of the fact that Perks can just insta-clear waves now, it was way easier for G2 to rotate and set up that objective for free. So Origen ends up just sitting there and watching their tower go and not being able to trade anything for it. And the thing is, if they keep trying to do this, then G2's constantly going to walk away with these advantages. And again, like, look, they're just kind of grouping up in mid now as G2 just kind of set up this river control, and they're constantly kind of a step behind G2 and everything that they tried to do. But now here they are. They're looking for that team fight. Nukeduck has the TP, and let's see if they can find a successful 5v5.
Alfari's going to look for the Nature's Grasp here. Puts it in the right direction this time as Jankos jumps onto him. But look at how split Origen are. Great bullet time on the backline. Is going to do a lot of damage as Caps almost falls. He's got the Chrono Shift to come back to life though, and he's still yet to die. Waiting for that Chrono Shift to time out because then Caps is actually going to be very low in this fight. Does he have Flash? No. Yes, he does. He uses it across the wall. Used it as I looked at his summoner spells, but with the Rift Herald going back into its spawn, G2 will be forced away. However, Alfari did go down.
And I really want to draw attention to Mickey in that play. If we get an opportunity to look at the replay, he did so much zone control that was just unbelievable. So keep your eyes on Mickey in this setup because Alfari is coming in from the left flank. He brings Perks to the rest of his team, and then as the bullet time is coming out, he's looking for it, he's waiting for it, and then he interrupts it. That mitigates a lot of the damage. Then he uses his ultimate and Flay to zone Xerxes away so he can't ulti. Mickey single-handedly kept 3 members of OG completely out of the fight, allowing the rest of G2 to focus down Nukeduck and Alfari. So mad props to Mickey because, like, I think that is some high-quality Thresh performance.
Oh, that's really good performance. And that's one of the things that people don't always look at with Thresh. A lot of people, especially myself included, I look at Thresh as a pick champ. Like, you're looking for the hook. If you land a hook, you can win the fight, etc., right? However, Thresh is a very good disengage champ if you have zone control, because there, you're funneling people into a specific position, and you put the box down, that's an incredibly large slow. The Flay stops people getting near the team, and you help your teammates reposition with the Lantern. So, very, very good stuff there from Mickey, as G2 will now look for the second dragon of the game down towards the bottom side of the map. Vedius.
We might get a Cloud Soul. We might get a Cloud Soul.
With a Zillion? No.
Do you know what that means? Yeah,
no.
That means Zillion with Cloud Soul.
There's enough.
Right, let's see. This is the moment of truth. Moment of truth. What is it?
It's Ocean. Yes.
Ocean.
Yes.
Ah, damn it, Medic. Damn it.
Mate,
I
I'll be honest.
See...
I want people when they die in the game to stay dead. Okay? Like, I have enough problems following a team fight without people coming back to life all the time. There's GA in the game.
Just imagine it. Just a team
Nico
fight.
in this
and
game
Perks
as well.
revives Caps. Perks revives Caps again and again. What is going on? We don't have to do that this game.
And there's a Nico, so I don't know which Perks is dying. Is it Wonder Perks or is it Perks? Like, who knows?
All right, let's have a look at the map state now.
Yeah, Origen are
G2
push
trading
top
on the bot
Perks,
side of the map.
Oh, Emperor's Divide not quite used. There's the Dredge Line. Perk's going to get pushed back. Is going to use the Chrono Shift, but there's really no one here to help him. The Flash has been used as well, and Perks is going to fall. Origen actually have a great position here to push him for the Inhibitor Tower if they want. G2 were pushing him bot. They got one tower, but now Origen, with this Rift Herald charging in, may be able to take the tower before G2 can respond. Instead, as the minion dies, they won't be able to get it.
So I'm surprised that all of Origen cancelled their backs, because this actually gives G2 the opportunity to flank.
Wonder, Pop Blossom. Oh, he doesn't go for it. Doesn't go for it. I was so hankering for a fight there.
He missed the route. He did miss the route, so he didn't want to commit, but they're continuing the chase. Perks doesn't have teleport, so even if he respawns, he's not going to come back in time. I think G2 are overcommitting here, because you can see that Alfari is rotating up to the river. But honestly, like, OG were very split in that decision there. After they secured the top tier 2, they should have just reset. They should have gone back to base, caught some of the bot wave farm, and then used that as an opportunity to allow G2 to then control up the topside jungle. But now, G2 have come back onto the map, they chased Origen all the way out, and now you can see G2's already sieging onto the mid-tier 1, while Origen is only just now getting back onto the base. So they are very far behind on tempo, and that whole delay has really slowed down their ability to get back on the map. And again, it's Origen just kind of catching up. They're playing second fiddle to G2 almost all time.
Oh, Caps is dead! The Lantern was there, the Chrono Shift is used, but you could see it. You could see Caps trying to stick around and stay and bait and wait for the Lantern. He's like, oh, I'm going to outplay you, but like, as a support player there, that was diabolically bad from Caps. All you have to do is not go for the extra auto attack. This is like, watch.
I mean, okay, yeah, but he's playing under the assumption that he has Zillion ulti, plus he has the Lantern here as well, right? So the great play from Destiny here is the fact that it lands just as he's taking the Lantern, so Caps presses the Lantern just way too early, and that is what ultimately interrupts it. But I guess he had to, otherwise he was going to get hit by the hook. So
yeah, but the thing is, you just don't go for the final auto attack on the tower. You just back away, you accept you're not going to get the turret, and you don't need to grieve.
I mean, are we talking about the same player here, Medic?
Yeah,
I mean, Caps is like the man that plays on the edge. I mean, this is ultimately what the criticism that comes down to him as an AD carry player, because he plays like on the boundaries of everything, and as a mid laner, that's what made him so fantastic, because he was permanently limit testing, right? But as an AD carry, even the smallest mistake can cost you so much, and now all of that tempo that we were talking about has swung in the favor of Origen, and they used that as a very quick opportunity to gain control over topside river. The Baron area now fully belongs to them, and this is where we have to again look at these compositions and talk about how Origen want that full-on 5v5 team fight. It is difficult with the amount of slows and zone control that come out from G2's composition, but in an area like the Baron, that's the best place or the best case situation for Origen to actually find that successful fight.
We'll see if Origen decide to fight around the Baron, because G2 are giving them the opportunities to stay in this game. 3,000 gold lead for G2 right now. Next Dragon up in a minute and a half. It's the Notion. There's a possibility that G2 will definitely want to go for it, because it puts them on soul point if they secure it, but Origen might want to take that fight. Haunting Guys and Nash's Tooth now complete on the Azir. Essence Reaver and the Infinity Edge on its way for upset. And you're starting to get that tanky frontline, because Randuin's Omen has been finished on Xerxes, so that's going to reduce the damage coming out from Caps. You've got the Sunfire Cape and the Spirit Visage on its way for Alfari. Like, this frontline is becoming not impossible to deal with, but a lot harder than it was a couple of minutes ago. I think Time Warp was just used mid as Perks looks for the double bomb. Can't quite land it. The trade's going to come back from upset. And Perks with another bomb. There's the Time Warp again. The rewind. Oh, upset just about dodges away from it, but Caps does have the Gravitum, has that purple gun, so if he Moonlight Vigiled, he could have got a route off onto upset.
So the great thing about that play for G2 is that Upset lost half his HP, and he's also lost a lot of mana. This has given prio in the mid lane for G2, and they can use this to set up bot river control. Now the rest of Origen are kind of just dancing around, and they're just conceding mid, and now they're going to catch the wave. This again now gives G2 full river control, as we can see, and Mickey is looking for that pick.
It's on to Destiny. Double bomb's going to come out as well, but there's the depth charge. You can see the Nature Scars coming across the fight as Origen look for the fight. Bullet time lands only onto Mickey, but that's a great shows up, but the damage coming out, the shutdown already. Pop Blossom forced away by Wonder as he's forced into the back of the fight. Perks is brought back, but he's gone. And now Alfari can just chase onto Jankos, this frontline tank that we were just talking about, Vedius. The tree is unuprootable as the shutdown comes out. Wonder lands the Tangle Barbs from the side, but in the end, it's a 3-for-0 trade in favor of Origen.
Excellent team fight for OG, and that was the fight that they were looking for. We talked about them ideally getting it around the Baron, but they actually get it around the Dragon, and it all started with Mickey landing a hook onto Destiny. They thought they could burst him down, but they were not able to. Now, we can see Wonder looking to hover around.
Angle Barb's going to come in, but Destiny has the flank position, and Wonder's being caught out. There's a lantern there for him to get away. Destiny trying to stop him with the ward, but Wonder will escape. And now that Baron going lower and lower. The smite should secure it. As the FPX from Destiny! What? You're not good enough to spam that, mate! Go to Worlds! Oh, dearie me!
Did he really just FPX? Okay. Alright, so this replay, it locks down Destiny first, right? So this is not the target that you want. Upset is still safe, Nuke Duck is still safe. But the problem is they're not actually zoning Xerxes away, so he gets such a massive ultimate off, and then Caps gets dragged in to the entire team after taking a lantern that was supposed to save his life. So with the two main damage dealers immediately popped off, then it's easy for Origen to find the rest of this chase down. The funniest thing was, Medic, we talked about how G2 is trying to prove that you can funnel those resources onto Caps and he can be that big carry, but we can see that if he's taken out of the fight immediately, that a lot of your damage just disappears, and OG are constantly finding him and shutting him down.
Yeah, OG in a very strong position now. They've taken the gold lead for the first time in a long time in this game. Vedius, Infinity Edge now complete on Upset. It looks like Rabadon's on its way for Nuke Duck, and they've got so much standing gold as well. They've only taken 3 towers so far. Nuke Duck's now coming down into the bottom lane to look to take this tier 1. And if you can get a good Baron power play here, Origen, you can be in a very strong position as the game goes on.
Well, the bright side for G2 is that they do still have the Ocean Soul win condition. The Ocean Soul is extremely strong and is a pretty effective means of coming back. The problem is going to be that OG have such a strong front-to-back teamfight comp, and Nuke Duck is so exceptionally strong at this point in the game, working towards his death cap as well. It's going to be difficult for G2 to find a good 5v5, and as long as OG take their time playing around these neutral objectives, the fight should always go in their favor. So G2 are going to have to try and look to either find a pick or try and split up the map, or try and utilize something like the Pantheon ultimate to catch someone off in a side lane, because I don't think they're ever going to reliably win these 5v5s anymore.
Totally agree with you, Vedius. Origen have always been, or consistently been, a team that scales, that plays relatively slow and waits for a late game. Well, this game we've had 24 kills in the first 26 minutes. G2 have tried to keep that tempo up, tried to keep that pace up, and Origen have been able to match them step by step. Xerxes able to get away from the Flay, uses the Haymaker pretty early there, but didn't want to take any more damage from G2 as Alphari is pushing in the mid lane, and Origen in a very strong position, a very commanding position in this game. Hook doesn't connect there from Mickey. I really wonder how much more Origen can break with this Baron buff, because they've only got 30 seconds on it. You can see Nuke Duck trying to put the pressure in the mid lane as Alphari's now come across. The Nature Scar's going to come out. Caps has to back away, does still have the flash. There's a lantern there for him as well, and he takes it early enough, but Origen will be able to crack this tier 2 in the bottom lane. Ahead by 2,500 gold.
Origen actually did a really good job of playing through all 3 lanes there. They had a wave slow pushing in top, which Wonder had to go and answer, which means that G2, having been divided, can't defend all these towers. So good, smart, slow, calculated play from Origen, but it's what you need to do, especially when you've only just been able to close the gold gap. You don't want to make that mistake that suddenly swings the game back into G2's control. You've now got a very comfortable 2k gold lead, which means that having opened up the map a little bit more, all the tier 2 towers are now down. It makes it a lot easier to invest in deeper vision towards G2's half of the map, and you can start setting up for this next Ocean Strike that you definitely don't want to give away to G2, especially given that it will be spawning before the next Baron.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll actually see G2 heavily contest for this Ocean Dragon. As much as it's really good for them to get it, I think they'll try and set up around it, but if Origen at all have the advantage, you have to feel that Origen just win out that fight right now. You've got double needlessly large rod finished on Nuke Duck. He has a 70 CS lead in the mid lane. He is so powerful. But I also wonder if G2 keep the game going, if they give up the Ocean Dragon, can they then win a fight later on, or are they just going to get outscaled as the game progresses? Aphelios, of course, still very strong in the late game. Zilean, still very strong with the Chrono Shift, but at the moment, Origen seems to be in command of the majority of these team fights.
Again, it's kind of how you want to play the game, because, yeah, in a straight-up 5v5, Origen will always win. But G2 don't have to play in that style. They can do this. They can look for picks in a side lane. I like the idea because you have the Pantheon ultimate to collapse too, but Xerxes hanging around is going to stop Wonder from setting up this plan. Yeah, no, but you can't. You can't take that gamble because you also know that Upset and Destiny are rotating down too, so G2 are going to be forced on wave clear duty. I think this is a very elongated flank. Okay, they're actually going to look for it. They know where Upset is. Here they go.
Here they go as Xerxes is bombed by Perks, gets the lantern across. Here comes Wonder trying to catch up Nukeduck. The Tangle Barb's going to land. There's the Pop Blossom as well. Nukeduck tries to flash away but can't get escaped. Wonder, though, is the one who's caught out. Nukeduck's now down as well, and Perks so low uses the Chrono Shift on himself. Alphari coming in from the side as G2 have to back away, back towards their lane as Origen control the jungle. They control it right now as Caps steps forward. Xerxes still has the showstopper, jumps in, the base breaker comes out. Perks doesn't have the ult back up, still 3/4 of that cooldown down as Destiny flashes in, can't quite land the dredge line. Upset doesn't have the bullet time. Caps is now stepping forward. That time walk can do a lot of work, Betty, as Caps is spared up, has the red buff, looking to slow on Alphari. He's going to dodge into that bush. Mickey doesn't hit the lantern. Caps still stepping forward, still very healthy in this fight. There's an Ocean Dragon available, there's a Soul available for G2, and that could be incredibly impactful if they secure it. All that extra healing, Alphari's going to get hooked up. Here comes the Nature's Grasp, though, they're diving onto Caps. Xerxes can't connect, and here comes Jankos, pulled back. The TP is available for Nukeduck in a couple of seconds' time, but Jankos has already fallen. Alphari with the stop, was managing to stay alive. Caps stepping forward, trying to do what he can in this fight. The Dragon goes down, it's secured by Origen. Showstopper used as well. Nukeduck with the flank TP. Perks has his ult back up, and he's already used it as the fight continues. Caps take down Destiny, but here comes Nukeduck. Upset still alive, doesn't have the bullet time quite yet. Mickey's gonna fall. Wonder's still alive, but now he's in a 2v1. However, Nukeduck ticking away, manages to secure the triple. A great flank from Origen, and a great fight for them in the river.
Incredibly close fight between the two teams, incredibly tense as well, as G2 were fighting so desperately for that Ocean Soul, because if they got it, they could have reclaimed control. These fights would have been a lot easier for them, but that TP from Nukeduck came in just in the nick of time. Let's see how things start off here. The problem for G2 is that Jankos gets shut down immediately. Alphari soaks up so much of the damage with Xerxes right behind him. Hook lands onto the tank. There's no easy member here for Mickey, and you can see the rest of G2 getting flanked away, so OG just playing this front-to-back team fight. This is exactly what they want, and they're able to just melt down Jankos. Now the smite is gone, so conditions are optimal for G2. Caps then makes this desperation play where he's like, you know what, I have the shields, and the heal's big enough. He's able to take down that initial one, and then the Jankos flank comes in through, but a great flash from Upset repositions himself to allow for Nukeduck to then come in from the flank, and then they collapse from either side. The damage is more than enough to be able to just shake down G2, but it was incredibly close. It was a matter of autos that separated the outcome of that fight, but with the Origen win, they get themselves the Baron, they deny the Ocean Soul, and it looks like Origen feeling competitive in this series.
Oh, what a game this has been so far, Vedius. I think after some of the early game, after G2 got a pretty commanding lead, you know, a couple of thousand gold, I thought this one was going to be a quick 2-0 so far for G2, but Origen fighting back now. Rabadon's complete on Nukeduck. He's incredibly strong, so powerful in these fights. And, Betty, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to. It looks like we have a series on our hands here.
And the game ain't over yet, mate. The game ain't over yet.
Yeah, but even if the game ends with G2 winning, this feels more like a series than Game 1 did. Game 1 felt like true. G2 made a few mistakes, and then Origen kind of got back into it, but this feels like Origen are actually landing punches on G2.
Honestly, mate, I feel like the Origen have just punished the mistakes of G2. Wow, they're just running after Xerxes.
They're just trying to chase down Xerxes. What? That was a lot used. Well, actually,
he used his Mercurial Scimitar as well.
But they still have Mikhail's. They still have Mikhail's on Mickey, so he can still get out of a stun if that happens. Trying to get the pressure on, as you can see G2 desperately looking for an avenue to approach this. They don't want to take that full 5v5 we talked about, as the inhibitor is the focus here for Origen. Baron buff still on them, as they managed to take their first inhibitor of the game in that top lane. 4,000 gold lead for Origen. As now we'll see if they decide. They don't really have the wave set up to push in any other lane. They'll be waiting a while for this mid lane wave to push in.
Origen, I think the only thing they need right now is control over the bot side. They're only playing through 2 lanes right now, which is not the end of the world. Playing a 4-1 is still fine with the comp that they're running. Makes it easier for them to actually find a successful team fight. And to be honest, with no TPs, it's probably the smarter play. Here comes the ult to try and zone them away.
You can see that Nature's Grasp connecting on the back line, but Caps is doing a lot of damage. It's a 4-item Aphelios, remember. He's going to be able to output so much DPS as these fights go on, and with only a cannon minion there for Origen, and the hook actually landing on Alphari, Caps is going to chunk him down. He's down to half already. He's going to be able to back away. Severum, the new gun for Caps, makes it a little harder to win out these team fights.
You can see how obnoxious it is for OG to approach these towers with the amount of zone control that exists on G2's composition, with the bombs available on the Zilean, with the hooks constantly coming out from Mickey, with Wonder being able to land his E if you get too close. Like, there are so many things that OG have to respect that they can't just walk into the enemy base and take whatever it is they want. So they're going to be happy with the top inhib for now. They're going to catch bot wave, they're going to look to push that up, and they're going to start setting up for the next Ocean Drake, which is going to be spawning in a minute. This will give G2 another opportunity to potentially come back into the game with that Ocean Soul, but we've seen multiple times now the Origen's team fighting is very strong. They just have to play it patient. They can't afford to get picked off before the fight starts. They need to stay grouped up, utilize these choke points where they get huge AoE impact across the entire board, and if they can do that, then this game is still heavily in their control. Origen looking to bring this to 1-1. Remember, this is of course an elimination match. The loser will be knocked out of playoffs. They will finish in 4th here at the LEC Spring 2020. And Origen, they don't want to do that. They want to knock out G2. They want to showcase that they can contest with the best that we have in Europe. Right now, they're setting up for that Drake. Good control, good posture in the bot lane. Moving already.
Flash hook. Oh, Caps flashes away from it. The Lantern was there, but he didn't want to wait for that animation.
That's a flash gone now, Medic. That is the flash gone for Caps. You're right, he does have both the Mikhails and the Crucible. That I always forget the name of. Mikhails and Mercurial. My apologies. Yeah, and it looks like G2's not even going to be able to contest this. Good setup from OG. Will grab themselves the second Ocean. And now the Baron is the next play for OG.
Still 2 minutes on it. Nukeduck is pushing in with that bot lane wave. Has a Banshees now to make it a little bit harder for Perks to land those double bombs. The wave in the mid lane is quite far away, but what G2 have done well is have Wonder really hard shove out that top lane. So those super minions are going to take a while before they start threatening G2's inhibitor area or the Nexus towers.
The problem that G2 is going to have is being able to properly contest this right now, because OG are doing a great job of managing their waves. They're keeping mid and bot constantly pushed in, forcing G2 to split up. But a lot of the teleports are coming back online now, so Wonder's going to feel a lot more comfortable sitting in this bot lane. Alphari, he's likely just going to keep catching waves and get ready to look for a TP flank. And we have to keep our eyes on where Origen is investing their vision. You can see them now moving into enemy jungle. They know that top wave is pushing. They have control over mid, and they're just limiting the options, limiting the information away from G2. As Zeus looks for a flank, he will be spotted out, so he's not going to commit to it.
I think the big question is, do G2 have a teleport ward around the Baron if it gets started? Because if they do, Wonder is able to get in there and get a Pop Blossom on the back of the fight. That could be a game changer. That could be the fight changer pretty much. Wonder will get away here in the bottom lane, so don't have to worry too much about that. But if G2 can find an avenue for Wonder to get on towards that backline, he can do a lot of work. Of course, Upsets does still have the cleanse and now has a GA alongside it, so it becomes a lot harder for G2 to take down that backline.
For sure, yep.
We'll see. I mean, G2 have a lot of resurrection tools of their own, as you say, as much as we were disappointed it wasn't a Cloud Drake.
I mean, honestly, like, I think the game is just really hard for G2 to play now, because even if they find the odd hook, like, this front line is just so strong. You can see the Leandries has come out from Wonder to try and help shred through some of this front line tankiness, but even with that, it's going to be difficult for G2 to actually win a fight. And, you know, they're out of position right now. OG are going to get a free inhibitor off this because they have full mid control. G2 was trying to contest River Vision. OG spotted them out, and then they're going to secure an inhib off the back of this. So, great response there from OG. They can now rotate through the topside jungle, clear out all the vision that G2 actually set up. You can see all of the control was sitting in their inventory, and then they can start to threaten the Baron.
Baron has spawned, as you say, with the top lane inhibitor still. Oh, it's about to respawn pretty soon. Oh,
he's going for the flank.
With the TP. Destiny coming in with the depth charge as well. They're looking for Caps. They're trying to catch him out. There is the Lantern, but Caps straight into the waiting arms. Alphari uses the Mercurial Scimitar to get away. Mickey chunked out quite a lot. The Showstopper coming onto Perks. He's going to be resurrected, but it's all on Caps. You've got to do the damage. You've got to get through Alphari, because right now that tree is unkillable. In the end, he goes down. The Haymaker coming out as well, but Caps is opening up, and it's a one-for-one trade by Destiny. Can't quite land the hook. The Chakrams, look at him. He's surrounded by a hula hoop of death. And now Nukeduck's going to get chased out by Caps. Doesn't have the flash, and the Chakrams fall off. Caps almost falls down. Jankos going forward, has the GA to come back into this. The Emperor's Divide uses as well. There's the Lantern, bringing Caps into the fight once again, but Upset's still alive. Upset doesn't have the bullet time, but the fight could continue as G2 going to turn across towards the Baron.
Caps just becomes like a ninja master. He pulls all these shurikens out from underneath himself, and he's like, it doesn't matter who's in front of me, I will just chop you all down. Now G2 have their eyes set on the Baron. OG, they're looking for the base race.
No, okay, base is coming out from Perks, who still has the teleport. I believe Caps and Jankos will stay around to do this, but Caps only has the Graviton Calibrum. That's not the quickest gun to take down the Baron. Upset notices that Perks is back because he almost gets a bomb on his face, and Xerxes now going to try and get across towards this Baron, making tanky it up. Xerxes not going to get there in time, won't even check it, so the Baron goes down for G2, and Origen's backdoor attempt was thwarted by Perks.
Who knew that the best way to cut a tree down was to just use chakrams? Like, just watch Caps on the backline here. They're trying to lock him down. Great bullet time from Upset, but unfortunately it's not enough as the fight kind of gets divided by Wonder flashing onto the backline, and that just gives space because it's just Caps versus Alfari and Mickey, and the two of them is enough peel to allow Caps to just chase these targets down and just melt through them. Like 3 auto attacks was enough to kill the Nautilus, and then he recognizes, oh no, ran out, I need to back off now, and that's when the rest of G2 starts to follow up. Yes, they can't get the commitment, but they do get quite a few summoner spells out, and honestly, I thought that G2 would not be able to win these 5v5s in the late game, but the Zilean ultimate as well is incredibly impactful, and the amount of time that it can buy, if OG are not able to successfully kill Caps and the fights are long enough, then G2 can actually win out, and you can see how close this game is right now. Caps running up to Nuke Duck.
Just chasing straight into him. Xerxes here, down to half HP as well. Upset's coming across as the Dragon has to be the target for these two teams, but Alfari's gone into the front line. Hook doesn't quite connect as Destiny jumps away with his. The bullet time coming out as well, but doesn't really chunk out too many people, and Caps can step forward, trying to challenge the enemy AD carry to a 1v1, and Upset is on the losing side. Upset down into the GA as the fight continues, but the Pop Blossom is stopped with the Emperor's Divide. Look at Nuke Duck, he's already dead. Caps has killed him. Caps able to take out Upset, able to take out Alfari. It's a triple. Give him another penta. Oh no, Perks, you poo! This Caps doesn't get the penta. I was going to use a much ruder word there, but Caps gets in, gets a triple. It's a full house as Perks takes 2, and G2 are just going to end the game, Vedius. Oh, who could doubt this man on an AD carry? Who could ever doubt him?
It all came together, the hyper carry Aphelios in the late game. Like, I thought the 5v5 wouldn't be strong enough, but Zilean plus Aphelios, we've seen it before, we're gonna see it again. G2 are gonna take the lead in this series. Absolutely unbelievable.